You guys have gone inside of there, head inside of the config folder provided, and you'll be met with 3 configs. Inside of here you'll be met with the high end, low end, and recommended configs for all PCs. For the best results, you're going to be wanting to match the config folder to your overall system specs. So if you guys are running on an older low end PC, select the low end config. If you guys are running on a high end PC, select high end. Or if you want the recommended config, whether it's a low end, medium end, or ultra high end system, gives you guys the best in terms of visual fidelity and best overall competitive FPS, I'd recommend going with the recommended config. So make a decision on which config you're going to be installing. For me, I'm going to be installing the recommended config and double click on the folder. With inside of the folder, you'll be met with 3 files: engine, game user settings, and scalability ionize. To install these is actually very simple to do. What we're going to be doing is dragging this to the right hand side, proceeding to go down to the bottom left hand side and clicking on the Windows key. With inside of here, then type in %appdata% just like so and press enter. With inside of here, the roaming folder will then open up. What we're going to be doing is navigating up to the top to where it says app data, clicking on app data, then heading into the local folder. With inside of local, we're then going to scroll down to the F section and we're going to find the folder titled Fortnite game. Go inside of Fortnite game, saved, config, Windows client. Then with inside of here, we're going to be going back over to the right hand side to the FPS pack configs, highlighting, dragging them over inside of our game, and replacing the files with inside of this destination. Once you guys have done that, you've now successfully installed your optimized Season 9 config files. You can then exit out of both of the folders. Proceeding on from there, that now brings us onto one of the brand new Season 9 optimizations included inside of the pack. This will drastically increase FPS depending on your system specs, and to ensure that you guys can get the very best results of this, we're going to go through those steps now. So to start off, what we're going to be doing is going inside of the Fortnite Season 9 FPS increase pack provided, going inside of the optimizations folder, and going inside of Fortnite S9 custom launcher. Inside of here, you'll be met with 4 folders for C drive, D drive, E drive, and F drive. This might sound a little bit confusing, you're probably wondering why these are here right now, and we're going to be going through that now. With inside of here, you're going to be clicking on the folder in which you have Fortnite installed to. So if you guys have Fortnite installed to your local disk C drive, you're going to be going inside of C drive install. If you have it installed to a D drive, E drive, or F drive, click on these corresponding folders found here. For me, my Fortnite's installed to my C drive, so I'm going to be going ahead and double clicking on C drive install, and you'll be met with a bunch of folders with inside of here titled 4 cores, 8 threads, and so on. Now to find out which one of the folders you're going to be going on with inside of here, you actually need to take yourself down to the bottom of your PC, right click, and select Task Manager. With inside of Task Manager, you're going to be taking yourself over to the top left hand side and clicking on Performance. Then selecting the CPU tab and navigating down to the bottom right hand side. With inside of here, you're going to be looking for cores and logical processors. This is where you're going to find which folder you're going to be going inside of. For me, I have 8 cores and 8 threads installed to this PC. Threads is just another name for the logical processors, so yours might be different. So for instance, if you guys have 4 cores and 8 threads, you'll be going inside of 4 cores and 8 threads. If you have 6 cores, 6 threads, you'll be going inside of 6 cores, 6 threads. For me, my system has 8 cores and 8 threads, so I'm going to be going inside of this folder found here and double clicking. With inside of there, you'll be given a Fortnite launcher, 8 cores, 8 threads, or which will correspond to how many CPU cores and threads you have with inside of here. What you're then going to want to do is you're going to simply want to drag this onto your desktop, and this is going to be the new launcher in which you're going to use to boot Fortnite. This basically splits the load evenly between all cores and threads with inside of Fortnite, helping for much better multi-threaded performance, improving FPS drastically, especially for you guys running on medium end to higher end systems. So whenever you wish to play Fortnite from now on, you'll simply double click on this launcher and the game will boot up. Proceeding on from there, that now brings us on to the steps in where we're actually going to be optimizing the Fortnite client itself. To start off with inside of this, we're going to be going back inside of the FPS increase pack and heading into the optimizations folder. Inside of here, we're going to go into Fortnite S9 process, and with inside of here, you're going to be met with 3 keys. These 3 keys are going to be setting the priority mode with inside of Windows whenever the game boots up. For instance, if you set Fortnite to normal priority mode, it will boot in normal priority mode as standard. If you set it to Fortnite high priority, every single time the game boots up, it'll be running in high priority mode, meaning that Windows can allocate more resources towards the game. This automatically does this after you've entered the key, and you'll never have to apply this again. So for the best results possible, I'd recommend going ahead and actually double clicking on high priority. But for some of you guys running on lower end systems, you might find better results using above normal. But for the majority of you guys watching, double click on high priority, select yes. It will then notify you that the changes have successfully been applied, then go ahead and press OK. Once you guys have done that, you've now successfully optimized your game client, and we can then exit out of the FPS increase pack. Piggybacking off of that step, we can apply one last optimization to the actual application of the game itself, and to apply that, we're going to be navigating to the bottom right hand side, right clicking on the file explorer, and heading inside of our documents. With inside of here, we can then take ourselves over to our local disk C drive, or wherever Fortnite is installed. This might be in a different folder depending on where you've installed it, if you've installed it to a custom location. But for you guys who installed Fortnite with inside of the default location, and you didn't change anything when you installed the game, navigate inside of program files, head down to Epic Games, then go into Fortnite, Fortnite game, binaries, Win64, and then we're going to proceed to scroll all the way down until we find these 4 applications found here. To start off, we're going to be going to Win64 shipping, right clicking, going to properties, then navigating to the compatibility tab, checking the option for disable full screen optimizations, selecting change high DPI, and also selecting the option for override high DPI scaling behavior performed by, pressing OK, and pressing apply and OK. You're then going to repeat that step for the other 3 applications found within inside of here, just like so. Once you guys have applied those optimizations for all of the application files found within inside of there, you can then go ahead and exit out, as that optimization has now been completed. Proceeding on from there, what we can now go ahead and do is actually boot into Fortnite using our brand new customized launcher if you are using one. Otherwise, boot into the game normally. But if you do have a custom launcher, simply go ahead and double click and boot into the game. Once you guys have booted inside of the game, what we're going to be doing is navigating up to the top right hand side to the 3 dashes. Click on the 3 dashes and then navigate down to the settings cog found here. Inside of here, we're going to start off by going over to the video tab. To start off with inside of here, we're going to be going to our windowed mode and setting this to full screen. Regardless of what system specs you have, you should always be running the game in full screen mode, as it does help drastically with input lag and overall FPS. What we're interested in doing is coming down to frame rate limit. I'd recommend setting this to unlimited, but if you wish to lock the FPS to a certain value, if you wish to do so, you can do that right now. You can then proceed to go down to 3D resolution. This is going to be one of the most important steps within inside of here for achieving your desired FPS. You can check the right hand side of the screen now to see recommended values depending on your system specs and the desired FPS you wish to achieve. VSync is going to be switched to off, motion blur is going to be switched to off, show FPS is going to be switched to on, and allow multi-threaded rendering is going to be switched to the on position as well. For some of you guys running on lower end systems, you can experiment around changing this mid-game. So if you boot into a game and you're not entirely happy with your FPS, come in here, switch this to the off position, press apply and see if your FPS changes. Once you guys are done with inside of there, head down to the bottom right hand side and press the apply button. That now brings us on to the settings cog found here at the top. Scroll all the way down once inside of the default settings to the options for NVIDIA highlights. We're going to be switching this to the off position. Record replays is also going to be switched off. Record large team replays off. Record creative mode replays off. Again, come down to the bottom right and press apply. Last but not least, that now brings us on to the audio tab found here at the top. With inside of here, we're simply going to be going down to the toggles, go to quality and set this to low. And last but not least, coming down and pressing apply. Once you guys are then done inside of there, we can then go ahead and exit out of the game. Proceeding on from there, we can now continue on with some drastic Windows optimizations in which some of you guys might have followed in previous videos from myself or other people. If you guys have followed any of the following steps, make sure that you do come in here and retrace your steps and ensure that they are still applied, as many times with inside of Windows updates, these optimizations can be set back to default without you even realizing. So do take the extra time to ensure that everything is set up properly. To start off, what we're going to be doing is going ahead and actually adjusting our Windows power plan and unlocking a secret power plan with inside of Windows 10 to ensure that we have a good baseline to start optimizing upon. To do this, what we're going to be doing is navigating to the bottom left hand side and typing in power plan, just like so. With inside of here, click on any of the options with this icon. Once the power plan settings tab has opened up, take yourself up to the top and click where it says power options. With inside of here, go to the show additional power plans and we're going to be looking for the ultimate performance power plan. If you guys can't see the ultimate performance power plan with inside of here, or it's not selected, select it if you do see it. If you don't see it, we can actually unlock this with a command in the FPS increase pack. So if you do not see ultimate performance, take yourself into the FPS increase pack just like so. And we're going to be going down to the command text document found here. Double clicking on the command text document to open it up and highlighting all the way from the right hand side to the left just like so, right clicking and selecting copy on this entire command. We can then exit out of the command and exit out of the FPS increase pack. We can then take ourselves down to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows button and typing in CMD just like so. Now this is extremely important. Before you open CMD, make sure that you do right click it and run it as an administrator. If you don't run it as an administrator, this command will not do anything. Once you've run it as an administrator, simply then take yourself down to the keyboard and type Control, then V, and it should paste the command in. Press enter and you should then be seeing Power Scheme GUID, Ultimate Performance. Once that's then been done, take yourself over to the exit button, then you can go back to the Power Options tab found here, go up to the refresh button in the top right, refresh, and you should be seeing Ultimate Performance Power Plan with inside of there. Take yourself down to it, make sure it's highlighted just like so, and we can then go ahead and exit out of the Power Options. Piggybacking off of that step, we can now take ourselves with inside of the FPS increase pack once again to further optimize the CPU with inside of Windows towards more demanding tasks. So take yourself inside of the FPS increase pack. We're then going to go inside of the optimizations folder and find the quick CPU setup version 3010 and double clicking. With inside of the bottom hand side of the screen now, you'll see a brief explanation as to what this program does and why you'd wish to use it. And to set the program up, we're going ahead and pressing next, accepting the terms to the license agreement and selecting next once again, pressing next and install. After a few short moments, the program will then be installed. Ensure that the launch option down here has been selected and then press finish. The program can then take a few moments to open up. Once the program is opened up, it can look quite overwhelming as there's a ton of information within inside of here, but we're only going to be selecting 4 different options. To start off, we're going to be taking ourselves to the top left hand side to power data, going to the drop down menu and selecting ultimate performance. We can then take ourselves down to the bottom left hand side to core parking index, dragging the slider and putting it to 100%, allowing us to have access to 100% of our CPU cores. Heading over to frequency scaling index on the right hand side and again dragging the slider to 100% to achieve access to 100% of the CPU speed on all cores. And last but not least, for some of you guys watching this video, you might not have this option available, but if you do, take yourself down to turbo boost index and again up to 100%. You can then go down to the bottom right hand side and select apply. It'll then notify you that the changes have successfully been applied, press OK, and we can then exit out of the program. That now brings us on to one of the most simple and easy to apply optimizations with inside of this entire guide. It's also one of the most important ones, and that is to actually ensure that you guys are running on the latest GPU drivers for your graphics cards. This might be an incredibly obvious optimization, but it shocks me how many people watch my videos and have never updated a GPU driver, let alone kept them up to date. To see how to update your GPU drivers, you can navigate into the description down below and you'll be met with two links. You'll be met with an NVIDIA GeForce link for any of you guys running on NVIDIA GeForce cards. And to keep your drivers up to date, what you'll do is you'll navigate down to the link provided down below, go to automatic driver updates and select the download on the utility found here. Download the utility, install it to your PC, it will detect your graphics card and the latest driver for it, install it and get you up and running. For you AMD Radeon users, it's a very similar process. You'll come to the AMD Radeon site found here in the description down below, scroll all the way down to auto detect, select download now, and again install the program to your system. It will detect and get you up and running on the latest driver. If you are going to be updating your GPU drivers, I'd recommend taking the time to do that now. After you've updated them, restart your PC, come back to this video and get ready to continue on. Once you guys have updated your GPU drivers, you can navigate inside of the FPS increase pack, go inside of the optimizations folder, and you'll be met with the GPU settings folder. With inside of here, you'll be met with screenshots for both AMD and NVIDIA, for both Radeon and NVIDIA control panels found with inside of your desktops. Proceeding on from there, for a further fix for most of you guys running on NVIDIA graphics cards, you're going to be opening up the NVIDIA profile inspector. With inside of here, we're going to be taking ourselves down to the number 2 option, which is sync and refresh, and finally the option for frame rate limiter mode. Double click on the option to make it editable, go into the drop down menu and select where it says 0x0004 PS frame rate limiter 2 control delay flip by flip. You can't go wrong, just make sure that the number is set to 4. Once that's been applied, go to the top right and hit apply changes. Go ahead and exit out of the NVIDIA profile inspector as the optimization has now been completed. That now brings us back to some important Windows optimizations in which everyone watching can apply. What we're going to be doing is navigating to the bottom left hand side and typing in regedit just like so. Then go ahead and press enter. The Windows registry editor will then open up. This can look a little bit complex, but it's actually very simple and easy to follow along with. What we're going to be doing is heading into the HK local machine folder, then going down to software. If at any point you do get lost with inside of here and you're not entirely sure if you're in the right folder, you can look at the top of my screen here at this directory, make sure that yours matches up and you're good to go. Once you guys are inside of software, we're going to be scrolling all the way down to the M section and finding Microsoft. Going inside of Microsoft, scrolling all the way down to the W section this time and finding Windows NT. Going inside of Windows NT, current version, then proceeding to scroll all the way down to the M section once again and finding multimedia. Again, look at the top of the screen to see the directory. Inside of multimedia, we're going to be going inside of system profile, but only clicking on the folder once. We're then going to take ourselves over to the right hand side to the option which says system responsiveness. Double click on this key and you'll then be able to edit the value data. What we're going to be doing for any of you guys running on medium end systems to low end systems or old systems, set this value to 1. If you guys are running on medium end systems all the way up to ultra high end gaming PCs, set the value to 0. For me, I'm recording this video on my high end gaming PC, so I'm going to be going with a value of 0, pressing OK, and we can then proceed to go back to the left hand side to system profile, double clicking on it this time, going inside of tasks, then going down to games. We can then proceed to go to the right hand side and we're going to be editing 4 different values inside of here, starting off with GPU priority. Double clicking, setting the value data of GPU priority to 8 and pressing OK. Then going down to priority, setting the value data of 6 and pressing OK. Then navigating to scheduling category, setting the value data of high, which is going to be HIGH, pressing OK, and again SFIO priority, once again HIGH and pressing OK. Once you guys are done with inside of there, you've now successfully edited all of the registry edits inside of here and we're then good to go ahead and exit out. That now brings us on to a very important fix in which most people watching this video can apply if you do use Discord. Regardless of your system